We have a whole bunch of legalese to sort through today. Will RJ Godfrey stay eligible? Has Arizona football already lost Ismail, Mahdi, and Max Harris? We answer all those questions today. And what is the NCAA thinking on the AZ Wildcats podcast, which starts now?
Welcome on into the AZ Wildcats podcast, coming to you live from Studio K, presented by our friends over at Circle K. It is I, your host, Damon Fairall, aka Damon Dog, with my guy, Kevin Thomas, aka the 2026 ALLCITY Network Content Creator of the Year, aka Kevo Post, right here at PHNX HQ3 in downtown Phoenix. And of course, Kevin, we got a lot to talk about today, including some new NCAA eligibility drama just taking over the college athletics world again. Feels like the NCAA, just constantly needs to be in the limelight when it comes to these type of situations, and their incessant need to be involved in litigation with thousands of athletes continues with the 5-5 eligibility and all that's brought about. We'll be getting into that, of course, whether or not RJ Godfrey is good to go, Ismail, Mahdi, and Max Harris. Are those guys in the same boat, or is it a little bit of a different situation? We're going to break that all down. But Kevin, how are we living on a Friday?
Living good on a Friday. Excited for the weekend, Damon. Arizona plays basketball tomorrow morning against a mixture of Lithuania A and Lithuania B. We're going to get into that at the tail end of today's show, a little bit of preview, talking about what we want to see in that last international game of this trip. But yeah, Damon, you're right. The news of the day is, in fact, the NCAA getting that stay request put in for that Colorado ruling, the one that kind of was the overarching eligibility ruling, I believe by Judge Sweeney, that came out and said anybody in the class of 2022 that has previously exhausted eligibility gets that extra year, right? Regardless, was kind of like the baseline of the ruling out of Colorado. And now the NCAA, as anticipated, has appealed that. They've gotten the stay request, meaning, right, the short and skinny of it is if you got eligibility through that Colorado ruling, right, not through any other courtroom, not through any other judge, through Judge Sweeney's Colorado ruling, the overarching one, you are now no longer eligible, or at least not eligible until they figure out this stay request and what the actual result of that case is going to be. So that applies to Ismail, Mahdi. That applies to Max Harris, right? We can kind of start here, and we'll get to RJ Godfrey after this. But Arizona, as of right now, does not have Ismail, Mahdi, does not have Max Harris because they are not technically eligible. I believe I saw Justin Spears reporting that even if they're not eligible, they are anticipated to still practice with the team throughout this process. So they're not like just gone, cast away. Sorry, Ismail, Mahdi, go back to your barbecue joint. No, like they're still going to be practicing with the team, but they're not eligible to play and be a part of the roster just yet. Damon, reaction to the Ismail, Mahdi, and Max Harris potential loss, and we'll get to RJ Godfrey after this one.
Yeah, Jason Shear reporting as well that Mahdi and Harris both practicing today. So yeah, that just to further kind of go along with the point that both players are still a part of the team, are still a part of team activities, are just not really eligible to be, I think, like playing in games. So as long as that's unclear and that remains a mystery, whether or not they're eligible, Arizona definitely won't risk playing them. I think that maybe we've done our little song and dance with that when it came to Bill Krosky-Merritt a couple years back.
He's just a Bill.
Really may have been a huge factor why Arizona had such a bad season in 2024. Absolutely zero run game. I'll always like kind of think of what could have been if an NFL starting running back was on the team back in those days. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting because Arizona was kind of factoring these guys into the psyche a little bit more so, having them a part of their plans for the season. And, even if both weren't expected to be starters like they were last season, they're starting caliber players that could provide quality depth for a football team that I feel like generally doesn't have all that much in the way of depth. I feel like Arizona, like the better Arizona teams are because, you have these, you have good starting lineups, but like beyond that, if you have bad injury luck, that's when things start to really kind of fall out of control usually in Tucson for the football program.
Depth is a luxury of like the Big Ten, the SEC, like
for
being
sure,
those bigger schools that
money and NIL resources and all of that comes with, getting players to accept competition and backup roles. Why would you do that at Arizona when you could go do that at Texas and get paid a bunch more money? It just doesn't make any sense, right? So having that depth is helpful. I don't think it's debilitating to what the team is trying to do. And as I've said on this show, like I think Ismail Mahdi is a very good running back. I don't think that he's like necessarily a game-changing type of running back. And Max Harris, I think, is a good linebacker, but I don't even know that he would necessarily be the starter if he had like a full off season of work with the team. I think in an ideal world, Chase Kennedy and Tay Brown are both the two starters there, and maybe Max Harris is the third guy as like Myron Robinson recovers from his late season-ending surgery that he had last season. So it's on the football side of things, it's disappointing. I don't think it's debilitating, but you want to see those guys get eligible. You want to see that depth kind of help improve this roster, because I just think that it just adds to like feeling better about Arizona's chances going into the year, right? Like the margins are so thin in the Big 12 where all these teams are like really close to one another. I think we saw that last season where, even in games against like, say, Kansas, a team that wasn't very good, Arizona needed like a big run from Quincy Craig at the end of the game to break it open and win. Even the Baylor game ended up being kind of a blowout. And, I don't think it was really ever in danger of being a loss, but that game was close in the first half. And they weren't very good last year either. I think that the margins are so thin that you need every single player that you can get here. So unfortunate for Arizona football that the way that this went down almost has repercussions on the two players that U of A football has tried to add to the table. Whereas, I think in a lucky manner for basketball, and I know we're all happy about that, basketball gets to keep RJ Godfrey in the plans for next season as of right now.
As of literally 2:08 p.m. Friday, August 21st, RJ Godfrey is still eligible. And we can get to that probably in our second segment. But yeah, I think Ismail Mahdi and Max Harris being ruled ineligible, at least at this time, I think is a big deal for Arizona football because, as you kind of laid out there, that was something to look forward to. Another thing to look forward to for this upcoming season of like, man, this is the deepest our running back room has been in quite some time. We were all pumped about Ismail Mahdi and the way that he played last year, right? And now his involvement in the Tucson community, and then you tell me he gets to play for our football team again. All of a sudden I'm pumped, and then 2 weeks later, the pump is now deflated, and Ismail Mahdi has been ruled ineligible. But this honestly, like overall, this has caused such a chaotic environment, right? The 5-5, the court ruling, all this stuff. Like it has caused a lot of confusion, right? I think a lot of college sports fans in general have been hitting the whether it's you're using AI or whatever you're doing, they're studying up on this law stuff, right? Like, what is an injunction? What is a stay request? What does all this stuff mean? Does this judge even have authority to do what they're saying they can do, and all these different things? It's a whole lot of confusion. Honestly, it's a whole lot of topics that I went to college and chose business initially and then chose journalism after that to avoid having to study so hard for some of these things.
And
Damon.
Look at you now, Kevin. You're the 2026 ALLCITY Network Content Creator of the Year.
Yeah. Still can't.
If it hasn't worked out, I don't know what has.
Probably still can't like identify all 50 states on the map. But either way, right, and that's, my own intelligence level. So, but yeah, I think it's just honestly a little bit disappointing because you knew, this is really what it is. You knew that all these eligibility cases, RJ Godfrey's included, kind of stand on varying thin levels of ice, right? RJ Godfrey's ice is a little bit thicker, but Ismail Mahdi and Max Harris were standing on true thin ice, and it seems like right now the NCAA is trying to take that away from them. I want to ask you this before we get to RJ Godfrey, Damon. Who do you think is most at fault here? Because I've seen a really interesting conversation going on with the internet here about, is it the NCAA's fault? As I think people very much default to like, oh, NCAA, spineless, loser, like can't, govern their own sport and all this good stuff. And then some other people that have kind of brought up the argument, like the NCAA tried to write this with the 5-5. And it's actually the coaches, the agents, the players that have tried to now circumvent the 5-5 rule to say, well, I should be grandfathered in. Well, actually, I have an extenuating circumstance. Well, actually, I'm Will Wade and I have 4 players. So how else am I supposed to field the roster? There's so many different loopholes being found in that 5-5 thing. Who do you think is at fault for like the current state of where we are with all these lawsuits and confusion and all that stuff?
I'm remembering back to a time where the NCAA was in a recent eligibility ruling argument, form of litigation, some form, way, shape, or form, Kevin. And on this show, I remember openly being on the NCAA's side and saying, like, I'm not usually like someone that is like fully like, yeah, let's go NCAA. I'm rooting for you guys in this ruling. But I'm trying to remember what it was exactly. All this to say, I'm not just strictly out on everything the NCAA is trying to push. I do think that this is unnecessary, though. And I feel like that's kind of been where my opinion has been at for a while here, is just, why? I feel like being grandfathered in here is entirely reasonable if you're one of these athletes that, and now there's a line that exists here as well, right? Like Kohler going to BYU, playing for the Jazz. Like, when you see that NBA logo, transitioning on the On3 graphic,
dude,
being like a 50% opacity and turning to a team in your own conference, that doesn't feel very good. And that's where I start to say, like, I don't know if that guy should be ineligible. I don't know if you're playing summer league basketball, I don't know if you should technically be eligible here moving forward. I feel like you've made that choice, you've made that leap. And it's unfortunate that you chose to do that before you knew that the 5-5 was going to be put into effect. But yeah, I mean, I think that there's a line, but I also think that these players should be grandfathered in, a lot of them at least. Like, we're talking about a lot of money that we're playing with here. Like, if you're someone like Max Harris or Ismail Mahdi, I mean, I don't know how much you're making exactly from NIL at Arizona football, but I'm guessing it's like in the 6 figures.
High 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
wouldn't know.
That's a good chunk of change, man.
It is.
And I think that if I was in their shoes, I'd fight to play an extra year to get that type of money. You know what I mean? And so you're talking about life-changing money, and next year, people that are in my same spot, they're going to be allowed to play. I don't know, man. I'd feel some type of way about it being like, yeah, I deserve to play. I'm eligible. Like, if they're going to be eligible next year to play a 5th year, why can't I do it when the rule is already being taken into effect? What do you gain by keeping us out this season? And I think, obviously a lot of these moves happen late in the process, and we're, 8 days before the football season, the college football season technically starts at this point for week 0. So the timing is really, really terrible when it comes to the football players in particular right now. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think that the guys that didn't accept pro contracts should be given the opportunity to continue playing if their team wants them back and, is willing to pay them the type of NIL money that it takes to get them back on the team. That's my personal opinion. I mean, how do you feel about it, Kevin?
Yeah, I think, it's tough, right? Because by that same token, I think, like, I don't know. This is something I asked like Gil or like other former like not pro, but like, college specific athletes that missed the NIL boat, right? Like any of those people in my life, I always ask them, like, do you ever feel like a little bit shorted that you were a part of the era that didn't get NIL, right? And they always say like, yeah, I wish I could have got in on that. And then there was that big, same thing with you. I'm kind of forgetting the exact legalese of the specifics of the case, but there was that big case when NIL was first kind of brought to the college realm of like players that were recently exited the game saying like, hey man, like Duke or Kentucky or Arizona or, Tennessee, any of these schools, they made a lot of money off of me when I was there. I was just there last year. Can I get something out of this? And they got a little bit of, money in NIL after the fact, right? Like, I think it was like a class action kind of situation almost. But like, I as you said, I think if you are eligible under the new rules, right? If you would have been eligible under the new rules, you should be grandfathered in, right? I think that just makes it simple for everyone, right? Guys like Ismail, Mahdi, Max Harris should be like kind of grandfathered into this because Ismail, Mahdi, Gil in the chat saying, I do feel a bit shorted with a $sign. Man, I mean, Wake NIL could have got Gil right. He might not be working here with us today if he got that Wake Forest NIL. Go Deeks. But you get my point, though. I think like more people should have been grandfathered in. I also think that, again, I did not go to school for law, so I am not intelligent enough to break this down like on a level that I would like to. But like, I also wonder, like, is there a way we could have avoided this state by state, litigation thing where now the NCAA is going to have to go case by case, like athlete by athlete, individual ruling by individual ruling. There's going to be like state laws into account here. I know the NCAA just got a big W. What was it? 4 days ago on the 17th, I think it was. There was a stay that was granted in Ohio. So you have your first individual state, right? And I think that might be a negative in the RJ Godfrey side of things potentially down the road. I hate to say it, but like getting a stay granted in Ohio, similar to how you got the Judge Sweeney thing, put on hold, I think is a negative for some of these players that are currently still eligible because they got, whether it's Donovan Dent getting his from California or RJ Godfrey getting his from Georgia, right? Like there's still things that need to happen before November comes around in college basketball's context. But for football, as you said, forgetting like how we feel about how the rule should have been rolled out, it's really unfair to not only the players, but the staffs as well. Like obviously, as Glenn put in the chat, both today and yesterday, like it is ultimately on the schools and the advisors to make sure that this stuff doesn't affect the program negatively. Like you're not putting yourself in a position to, get reprimanded or, prepare for the season with the guy and then that guy gets swept out from under you. Like that's ultimately up to the advisors to be on top of that kind of stuff and have foresight to what is coming down the pipe here. But it is still very unfair to, in the same summer, like this is not like, hey, 5-5 got passed last spring and we've had a full year under this and now it's being swept out from under us. Like this stuff passed like within the last 6 months here. You know what I mean? Brent Brennan is finding out that Ismail Mahdi might be eligible within, he's not ready for this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like these coaches, these players, this is happening just as fast for them as it is for us. And I almost wonder if there was a way that we could have avoided that second half of it, right? Like if they could have brought out the 5-5, grandfathered people in, as you suggested, would that have stopped this state-by-state injunction? Or would you have just seen more loophole searching from players like Jackson Kohler, who I think, if I understand what you were proposing correctly, he would not be eligible because he did sign that Exhibit 10-day with the Utah Jazz and did play for their summer league team. So, like, if those guys wanted eligibility still, I still think they might sue. Because as you said, like, just human nature, you're like, well, I could get a piece of that. I have a good argument. My lawyer has an even better argument. Let's see if we can fight it. So I almost wonder if it was, like, unavoidable to a point, or if we could have avoided this whole court mumbo jumbo. Drop your opinions in the chat about this eligibility confusion. If you just want the season to start like the rest of us, drop that in the chat as well. But after our first break here on the AZ Wildcats podcast, I do want to talk about RJ Godfrey and give you the latest as it relates to his eligibility, because this affects literally every team in almost every sport, right? So it's not just football, it's not just basketball, it's the women's sports too. Like they're trying to put together rosters and they're trying to get their fight. Like there's a lot going on right now in the NCAA realm, ecosystem. Love, Truth, and Happiness saying they hate the NCAA and it was behind the curve in compensation. Now it's just trying to flex the muscle it has left. And I understand that sentiment as well, because the NCAA does kind of feel like, well, we took a big loss. How can we get a win? Like, how can we get a win?
Yeah.
Because the athletes just lockered us for the 1,000th time. So how can we look better on the back end of this and go to our shareholders and say, well, see, we actually did get a dub in Ohio and we made sure RJ Godfrey couldn't play. So isn't that good for everybody? And I'm not sure that, you know what I mean?
Is that worth it though? Is it worth it to have your legal team, burning the midnight oil to do thousands of cases for all of the athletes that are going to want to remain eligible and collect NIL resources and do sponsorships and whatever comes about with extra years of eligibility? And that's not just football and basketball. That's going to be the two most headlined, right? But that's every sport on campus as well. And so, I just don't see the need, and it just doesn't feel like it's the juice is worth the squeeze from the NCAA's case on that one. Like, I don't really understand what they gain out of it, I guess, is my thing. It feels
I think
like
it's just like some sort of semblance of control over their own sports.
But
right?
that just doesn't feel like.
No.
That feels like now you're just fighting just to fight to me. And we're talking about like this power struggle where they keep losing to the athletes constantly. I know that it brings about like some people are going to try to bend the rules a little bit or get exceptions to it. But I feel like the NCAA had a real opportunity to say, no, we're moving to 5-5. As we discussed when this was all being initially floated, we're moving to 5-5 to make it not confusing. Meaning you guys get a 5th year as long as you didn't sign a pro contract. You get a 5th year of eligibility if you want it. And meaning if you're trying to get exceptions to the rule, you ain't, because it's 5-5 and it's about as damn simple as it could possibly be.
Yeah.
And it feels like that is the stance to like go 10 toes down on and just be like, this is where we're at. We are going to allow you guys to play. We're not going to go into legal battles with thousands of you for reasons that no one really can figure out other than trying to win a power struggle. And we're going to, in the same token, really put our foot down that this is the way that it is. These are the rules now, and there are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now it's like, the people in California and Georgia and Louisiana, they can all play. But if you're in any other state, good freaking luck. And that just doesn't feel like a clean and fair system to me. Feels like we're just diving headfirst into more murky waters where every single year we're going to be like, is he eligible? Is he eligible? What about this? No, it's clear cut. Let's roll with that. I just don't really get it, man.
Yeah, I mean, we have more murky waters to sort through. We have RJ Godfrey updates. Is he still eligible? It looks like it, at least for now. We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more after our first break here on the AZ Wildcats podcast. Leave a like, drink your water, share this show with a friend, but most importantly, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. It's our good friends over at Pure Edibles. I love Pure Edibles. They catch me a vibe every time, and the effects are purely listed on the outside of each tin. So whether I want an uplifting experience or something to unwind my tight knotted brain and this big forehead, Pure Edibles has me covered. And it's not just like some, dollar store candy quality stuff. No, this is a full-fledged candy company that just so happens to love the fun stuff like CBN, CBG, CBD, and marijuana-derived THC. Now, Pure Edibles, if you're thinking you like to support local, this is a locally founded company from right here in the Freedom State of Arizona. They were founded in Noble Herb Dispensary, but you don't just have to go. You should go, but you don't just have to go to Noble Herb Dispensary to get your Pure Edibles. Pure Edibles is a growing, bustling, booming business. Over 150 dispensaries statewide, now including True Leave, dispense our friends over at Pure Edibles. So if you want to catch vibe with edibles that are not covered in sugar like some of their competitors, and Pure Edibles gummies that are designed to be ripped or bitten in half to either dial in or share that exact dosage, go find yourself some Pure Edibles from one of the over 150 now dispensaries statewide, including True Leave.
Shout out to Pure Edibles, and shout out to another one of our fine sponsors. Circle K sponsors the great Studio K, and Kevin and I are very prestigious members of the Inner Circle Rewards membership program. We are premium members.
Yes.
To be exact.
Indeed.
And of course, if you're not a member yet, you're going to want to sign up because you can save a lot at the gas pump in particular. 25 cents off per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups at the tank. And then you'll save 3 cents off per gallon every time you fill up after that. And then once you hit that premium status like me and Kevin, no big deal. You start saving 5 cents off per gallon every single time you fill up at the tank. Of course, there's Inner Circle Fuel Days to look out for where members are saving 40 cents off. And you get deals on Polar Pops, snacks, meal deals, and all that you can possibly want at Circle K. America's Thirst Stop, the #1 destination for you to get that caffeine afternoon pick-me-up, maybe just something to munch on. Circle K, they got you covered. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply as participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for all the details.
I hate to say it, but I agree with both people that are kind of on opposite sides of the chat right now. I hate to be that dude where it's like one guy likes waffles, one guy likes pancakes, and I'm like, guys, ¿por qué no los dos?
Why? Because Alex said I look sweet and somebody said I look like a freak or something earlier in the chat?
Well, no, I said you look like a freak, but that was off air in the office to Noah earlier before you got in.
There we go.
Right?
But now you're getting in on your own theory that you had before?
I'm saying that Glenn's saying it's really who's at fault, right? He's saying it's really the greedy agents and players not moving on causing all this mess. And then you also have Love, Truth, and Happiness saying that it's really just the NCAA, right? Being like kind of spineless and not creating a situation that is clear with less friction that everybody can approach from the same side. And I do understand that as well. Like I think this far down the road with the NCAA eligibility stuff, you're not just going to have one party at fault, right? Like, I think on my part, it's a kind of a fool's errand to ask Damon, like, who is at fault for all of this, right? I think it starts with the NCAA for sure. But to Glenn's point, I think you have agents and you have certain teams and certain players that are purposefully trying to find loopholes in the system as soon as the new rule is written in. So the new rule should have been written a little bit more clearly with less friction so that everybody can approach it from the same side, like Love, Truth, and Happiness says. But because it was not written clearly and because there is still friction and because people are coming from it from different sides, you also have people looking for loopholes and people not moving on and people kind of trying to, massage the game's rules and try to fit in their clients or try to get their roster to be marginally better than their rivals roster or whatnot. It's a mess. It's a mess. And adding to that mess is RJ Godfrey's eligibility. Arizona signed RJ Godfrey a couple weeks ago before the Lithuania trip, literally like a week and a half before they left for Lithuania. RJ Godfrey was being signed by Arizona. He goes through his litigation in Georgia. He's told, brother, you should just quit all this basketball stuff, become a park ranger. That's what your fate is really leading up to here, RJ. And his, representation was trying to fight back, and they got the W, right? They got the injunction in Georgia, and he was ruled eligible for this upcoming season. Arizona makes the signing. We have yet to see him in action because of the rest of the fallout from that litigation. I mean, as it's been reported as of right now, he's eligible but suspended for 4 games. Is the NCAA, I'm assuming they will, trying to continue to strip eligibility from him in the court system? I think, once you kind of let them in the door, I think they're going to try to continue to get in the door. You got the 4-game suspension. I think they're going to try to go for the stay in Georgia and probably try to appeal his eligibility. I don't know how that's going to go for them at this time. Like I said earlier, I'm not a lawyer, but what I can tell you is what's happened. And up to this point, he's been suspended for the first 4 games of Arizona's non-con. I know we referenced yesterday, Damon, I want to make a correction. We referenced yesterday that we were unsure, which was true, of whether or not that suspension applies to these international games at all or if it would be the non-con. It would apply to the non-con. He would miss the UCLA game. He would miss the Auburn game. Those are the 2 most notable games that he would miss early on in Arizona's season. But as of today, he's eligible. In a couple weeks, come November, I'm not sure. But as of today, RJ Godfrey's eligible, and I feel like if there was reason, again, this is just me saying this, I feel like if there was reason to be really concerned for his eligibility, there would be a different tone with the reporting so far from what we've seen, but everybody could just be in the dark as much as we are here, Damon. Your thoughts on RJ Godfrey's eligibility? As of today, he's good, but as of tomorrow, I don't know. Ask me again.
Yeah, and that is where, I'm very, much against and backed myself against the NCAA when it comes to this stuff. It feels like, we're coming up with a new answer on any given day right now. And like you said, tomorrow might bring a different answer than what we know about the situation today. But yes, it does seem as though, based off of the reporting that's being done by the people that are close to the basketball program and that are reputable, when it comes to reporting on this team in college basketball, that, RJ Godfrey should be good to go. It really, seems like the individual state case of Georgia is essentially protecting RJ Godfrey and keeping and allowing him to maintain his fifth year of
soldier
collegiate
meme.
eligibility.
It's the soldier meme where he's protecting the sleeping child from all the arrows.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's the Georgia judge that ruled in I'll say our favor.
RJ Godfrey and Tommy Lloyd just sleeping in a twin bed.
Maybe
there.
we should make that after the show.
Yeah, I might get working on that.
But yeah, it's crazy that it's so up in the air right now, and I just feel like the NCAA could really do a lot of favors to everyone involved, including themselves, by just being like, actually, it's simple, and here's why. You have 5 years to play 5 seasons.
Yeah. No, 100%. It's crazy. The 5 and 5 actually being explicitly 5 years in 5 years.
Who would have thought?
Whoa, my goodness. I will say on the RJ Godfrey side of things, right? Like him missing the UCLA game with suspension, him missing the Auburn game with suspension, honestly not too concerned with either of that. I think he'll be up to speed regardless. But I do think that opposite of the football conversation you and I were just having, where we're kind of like, well, if we lose Mahdi and Max Harris, that stinks. But I don't think it doesn't take our season off track from the get, right? It might end up that way. If you have an
injury or two that happens, you could really be sitting there going, man, I wish we had Ismail Mahdi right about now.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, it doesn't derail you from the start, but as we did with Bill Krosky-Merritt, you could get to the end of the season and say, man, if we had Ismail Mahdi, or man, if we had Max Harris, it could have been the difference.
Yeah.
But I think with basketball, like if you lose RJ Godfrey to this eligibility mumbo jumbo, when we did kind of pencil him in at least to be the starting power forward, I feel like, your kid asked for a pony and you get him like a toy pony. It's like, well, I kind of built my expectations up to be a complete thing here. And yeah, you got me the thing, but it's like not exactly the same quality as what I thought it was going to be.
It's not really what I wanted.
It's not. And I think like as we've watched these preseason games, even the good performance yesterday against Ukraine, one thing you and I talked about yesterday is how excited we were to see RJ Godfrey fit in with this upcoming roster. Because it felt like, even when he signed, when we did our breaking podcast about that, like it felt like he was like kind of the perfect ideal role player fit to play the 4 with this upcoming year's team. And if you don't have that guy, we've seen that Oogie, has been very proficient. We've seen Ivan Karchenkov and Cam Holmes look very good together out there. If you want to have Ivan at the 4 and Cam at the 3, there's solutions to the power forward issue. And now we're right back into the June show topics, but there's solutions for the power forward position here at Arizona if you lose RJ Godfrey. But having that ideal puzzle piece in the building and then having it taken from you, I think would really, at least in my opinion, it would be more of a reality check, I think, in terms of what the team could be, right? They have very high ceilings as of right now without RJ Godfrey. We've seen it, right? When they're gelling, and they haven't really played that long together. But I think with RJ Godfrey, you're talking about like Elite 8, like being like the expectation. And I think without RJ Godfrey, at least maybe you feel differently, but I'm like more like, okay, well, let's get to the Sweet 16 and see who we got. Like, see what we got, see how we're playing all this stuff before I'm like, yeah, this team must be in the Elite 8. If you have RJ Godfrey, I think the team has the talent, the coaching, the pedigree to be at that Elite 8 expectation. Without him, I think it actually does impact the way you view the season from the get-go. How do you feel about that? Like if RJ Godfrey is swept out from under their feet, so to speak, does that impact how you feel about this season?
Absolutely. I think I feel very good about the floor of this team being very high. They're going to win a lot of games, and they probably, with or without RJ Godfrey, should be the favorite in the Big 12, in my opinion. Just based off of the star players on the roster, based off who the coach is, based off of Arizona's ability to, I think, maximize players that they've shown under Tommy Lloyd in particular over the last, handful of seasons here at this point. I think that Arizona is in a good spot as we talked about all offseason. But yeah, the reason that I was like pounding the table so hard for getting a 4 was because I was like, I see this roster as championship quality. And I think that you need that starting quality big man next to Krivas to be a championship caliber team. I think that without RJ Godfrey, you're a step below what championship caliber looks like. And we all saw last year, like Arizona was absolutely championship caliber, quote unquote, last year but the margins are still very, very small. And Michigan went belt to ass on Arizona in the Final Four, even without Lendeberg for most of the game. Like you need to have a team that is about as good as last year's team and hope that you don't run into a juggernaut like Michigan again, right? And I just don't think that without a guy like RJ Godfrey, who is, I think, a defensive-minded player, wants to do a lot of the dirty work, wants to do the rebounding side of things, but also led his team, which was an NCAA tournament team, in scoring last year. That's like the perfect fit for what this team needed. And so for me, yeah, it's like the difference between top 5 championship contender to, yeah, like we got to be in the Sweet 16. And then after that, I think it's kind of all up in the air.
I do want to address what Glenn is kind of talking about in the chat, saying spend all this time looking for a power forward and still might have to keep looking. That's pretty bad foresight. And while I don't completely disagree with you, I will say, and this is not just in defense of the Arizona staff, it's in defense of many staffs that have added the 5-and-5 players throughout the nation. I think, like, remember when Tommy Lloyd went out to that fan event out here in Phoenix, I think unnamed bar that might, I don't know. Anyway, either way, Tommy Lloyd was out here in Phoenix speaking to local media, and he was kind of saying, like, yeah, what we're told from the NCAA one day is different from what we're being told from the NCAA the next day, and I'm kind of tired of that. It's hard to do what I need to do when I don't know what tomorrow is going to look like.
Yeah.
And I think if you're trying to have foresight, right, Glenn, I think, like, if Tommy Lloyd is told by Matt King, who's like the president of basketball operations for Arizona, who's probably told by the NCAA, hey, today we think these players are eligible, right? Matt King's, I'm not sure if this is the actual workflow, but I'm assuming the president of basketball ops then goes to Tommy Lloyd and says, all right, coach, like, this is the list of guys that I think, or coaches, this is the list of guys that I think could be eligible based on what I'm being told the rules are going to be. Now, when the NCAA changes their tone, you now have to reevaluate that whole list of players, right? Because you had no idea that they were going to change the rule again, right? And so now you have this ruling in Colorado, and I'm sure that they've done their due diligence, and they were told, like, yeah, we expect RJ Godfrey to be good because even if they appeal the Colorado one, he still has the Georgia one. And then I'm sure you asked the question, can they appeal the Georgia thing? And there might be, I'm assuming, a level of confidence that he will still be eligible. But if he's not, I just think it's hard to have foresight when the rules are and the goalposts are consistently changing, right? Like, yes, in a given year, if you spend all this time looking for a power forward, you sign one, and then he's taken from you, it does show bad foresight. But I think these coaches across the nation, Tommy Lloyd, whether it's, Will Wade or whatever, whoever it is, Josh Schertz in St. Louis, like, you're dealing with a moving deck of cards. Like, you're trying to play poker and your deck is moving in front of you. Like, you know what I mean? It just doesn't, you have no consistency to know how to play your next hand. So yeah, I think it's just hard to, like, look forward in this modern era of college sports to say what even 6 weeks ahead is going to look like. You know what I mean? It's tough. It is tough.
I just don't really understand the point, I guess. I know that we're doing the contrarian, like, anti-U of A thing, but, like, is every school in the country not targeting some of these 5-and-5 eligible guys? Like, or is ASU not in on trying to get, like, Dyson Daniels to come play for them for his 5th year of eligibility? No, I'm serious. Like, it feels like, or I'm sorry, not Dyson Daniels, the Skillings. The guy who looks like
That's why I laughed, because I was like, Dyson Daniels is like an Atlanta Hawk or something.
Great value, Dyson Daniels. He looks like him. They're both Australian.
He kind of does look like Dyson.
Yeah, they do look like that's why I got them confused. But and they're both Aussies.
He's Aussie?
I think so. Yeah, Dan Skillings.
Nah, birthplace Blackwood, New Jersey.
No way.
At least for Dan Skillings.
No, that's the most. What a now.
Let me see. I mean, I could double check.
He feels Aussie.
Well, his hometown is Blackwood, New Jersey. High school was Roman Catholic, PA.
No, he's obviously from, like, the tri-state area.
Yeah. Tri-state area. Dan Skillings.
Australia's own. I love when one of these things just comes about naturally on the podcast.
Speaking of coming about naturally,
like, you're just like, this guy gets a new country now. He's from a different place of origin. I have now decided it is done.
Yeah, I did. Speaking of, things popping up naturally on the podcast, yesterday, you and I decided that we were going to open up a pink soup drive-through.
Yeah.
I have an update on that we can get to maybe a little bit later in the show. I will pull for us.
Let me continue my point that I was making here.
Go ahead.
All these schools are doing this. There is obviously a risk involved when it comes to RJ Godfrey in particular, because Arizona doesn't have a power forward without RJ Godfrey, so you're risking it a little bit there. But as Alec puts in the chat here, like the fifth-year guys are a no-brainer, especially on the football side of things, because if Ismail, Mahdi, and Max Harris can't play for the team, it's the same team that you had without them a month ago. So what's the risk? Why does someone have to be like reprimanded or punished for letting those guys come through the door when they're just essentially being floated as depth pieces to the program, and whether or not you have them on the team is only an added positive, or else you don't have them on the team, which is the team that you had built in the offseason beforehand. There's zero risk on the football side of things. And as I already outlined, I don't even think either guy is like quote unquote a starter for this team going into this year, especially without this past offseason. And then, yeah, there's risk with Godfrey, but I do think that Arizona has a much better grasp of what's going on with the RJ Godfrey situation, Arizona basketball, than Arizona football does with the Mahdi and Max Harris situation. Again, given the timing and the scheduling and the calendars of this whole thing, like Mahdi and Harris play football in like 15 days or whatever it is. You know what I mean? And meanwhile, you know, RJ Godfrey has until November to figure things out here. So RJ Godfrey, yes, much more of a risk, also much more protected by his own state case, by his own state judge that ruled in his favor. And then Mahdi and Harris, while they're a lot more up in the air right now, whether or not they're going to be able to play, the risk is significantly lower with those guys. So I just don't really like, I get that, again, I get that we're trying to do this like contrarian, like, you know, like, oh, who let this happen, guys, type of thing. But it's just not that. It's not that big of a deal. You're turning a nothing burger into trying to make it this sky is falling scenario. And I think that we can get there with Arizona basketball, but we're not even close to there yet. So why would we start freaking out when there is a form of state protection right now for what RJ Godfrey and his eligibility looks like?
That is your NCAA eligibility update lawyer school for the day. Jay Meisner in the chat saying Texas Tech, Louisville, BYU, LSU's entire team, Gonzaga. There are tons of teams taking 5 and 5 guys.
No.
U of A took 1 after there was a court case already clearing them.
No. Who the hell let this happen? They should be fired. Who should we fire in the Arizona athletic department for letting RJ Godfrey commit to Arizona?
And I will say, right there, Glenn also making an argument that like, what if they just waited? But I will say, like, if you wait and then RJ Godfrey ends up signing with like Houston or something, and then he gets pulled out.
It's just hilarious coming from the guy who's been more critical of Arizona not getting a power forward all offseason than any single person on earth.
Yeah.
Now we get a power forward and it's, well, what do you got? What if you guys just kept waiting for one to magically fall out of the sky into your lap? That's kind of what happened with RJ Godfrey.
He kind of did.
And Arizona went and pursued that and went after him and got him.
Yeah. 100%. But we're going to be back after our second break here on the AZ Wildcats podcast, previewing tomorrow's matchup with the mix of the senior and junior Lithuanian teams. We're going to talk about that and some pink soup after this.
Anytime I can talk about pink soup, I need to.
I mean, you and me both, brother. But if you need a new car, head over to Sanderson
Don't get
Ford.
that pink soup in your brand new Sanderson Ford.
No. Don't do that. Don't do that.
No pink soup allowed in my F-150s, Kevin.
No, unless
I've made that
like,
very clear.
Unless it's like a deli container with a top on it that is very secure, and then you rubber band that top on top of it. But the Sanderson Ford summer sales event is here and right now. You at home can drive home a 2026 Ford F-150 STX or a 2026 Ford Explorer, both starting for $38,995, or you can grab a 2025 Ford Bronco Sport starting at just $28,495. But if you don't got straight cash, homie, that is okay, because financing might be the right fit for you. Sanderson Ford has you covered with 0% financing for 36 months, 0 payments for 90 days, 0 maintenance fees. So if you do spill a little bit of a pink soup and maybe it messes with something in the car, you got 0 maintenance fees for 2 years, plus $1,000 towards your down payment on new select Ford models. All prices are plus tax, title, license, $599 dealer doc fee, and dealer ads. Must finance through Ford Motor Credit on approved credit. See dealer for qualifying vehicles and complete details. Offers expire August 31st, 2026. Like I said, the summer flies by, but do not let this sale pass you by. Choose no hassle, no pressure, no nonsense. Choose Sanderson Ford.
There's another end of summer sale going on right now that you're going to want to get in on, and it is, of course, the Window Depot. 20% off on all cabinets from now until the end of September 30th. When this sale ends, 20% off all cabinets. Summer's winding down, but the home project renovation season is still going strong. Get in on those projects that you continue to put off and put by the wayside. Now is the time to really attack them and make your home more of that space that you just absolutely love, right? When everybody loves coming home from work, hanging out at their house, make that really just truly a space that makes you proud, and do so with our friends at the Window Depot, who of course have not only the best windows in the game, but they are more than just a window store. They have cabinets, countertops, vanities, so much more. Everything you could possibly think of home renovation project journey-wise, the Window Depot has got you covered. So visit the Window Depot today. Go to any of their 8 locations in Phoenix and Tucson, in both those metro areas, and start planning your next project today. Stop by one of the Window Depot's 8 locations and see why they are more than just a window store.
More than just a window store, and this is more than just an international preseason trip. Is it though? I don't know. But it was a good transition, wasn't it? Arizona plays Lithuania tomorrow morning, playing them technically again. Tommy Lloyd, after the loss to Lithuanians B team on the 19th, was saying that, well, I'm not sure if we really earned the chance to play against the Lithuanian senior team on Saturday because Arizona played so poorly against the Lithuanian B team. And then they go out there and they defeat the Ukraine by a decisive fashion. But here's, I think, where it gets a little bit complex, because obviously you had reports saying that we don't really know who Arizona is going to face on Saturday. They may face the B team in a rematch. They might face the A team. They might face a mix of the A and the B team. It seems like we're going to get the mix because Lithuanian senior team, who is in the FIBA window games, they're trying to really compete for some FIBA competitions out there. They just lost to Estonia in overtime on a game-winning shot. So I don't think the senior team is really in any mood to play an exhibition against some college team that's just trying to get their feet wet. So I think they're going to have a mix of the A team and the B team there. Some real big challenges for Arizona on that roster. Like it's not going to be easier by any means on Saturday than it was on the 19th. But hopefully, now that they have 2 full games under their belt, the team will look a little bit better. And that's kind of what I want to talk to you about here, Damon. Obviously, we don't got to go into breaking down everybody on the Lithuanian side, right? You're going to want to watch this guy. This Damon is Fairall. He off the dribble, he's crazy. Like, no, we're not going to do that. It's a preseason game. But I want to ask you, Damon, what are some things that you want to see tomorrow in that game against Lithuanian A.5 or B.5? B+? Yeah, B+.
B+/A-.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how they play.
I think B+ is probably a little bit more of a fair
because you're
indication.
taking the B team, adding a couple guys from the A team, so it's B+.
Yeah.
If it was the A team minus some guys, then you have A-.
Yeah, I think that's a fair distinction. It'll be interesting. I think that Arizona maybe didn't respect Lithuania B the way that they should have going into that game. I feel like you saw a little bit more intensity from the jump in the Ukraine game, whereas the Lithuania game, early on, like I will say that I did think that the officiating kind of put Arizona in a hole early, and that definitely took the guys off guard, in my opinion. Like you could tell that some of the weaker touch fouls that they call in the European game and not necessarily as much in college were a learning curve. And I think that it took a little bit of getting used to. A guy like Caleb Holt had 5 fouls in that game, for example. I do think that you're going to see maybe a more determined team in this game, because by the sounds of what Tommy Lloyd had to say after that Lithuania B game, I don't think he was very happy. Sounded like he was pretty upset with his team's effort level and I think professionalism going into that game of like how seriously we're taking this Lithuania tour. And so because of that, I do think that you're going to, again, see a little bit more determination, which means you're probably going to see more intensity, which means I think it's going to be a close game. Like, obviously, the competition is better than it was versus the team that you lost to already by really not even a very close margin. But I think that this one will be tighter than that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think this is an Arizona team that, like, under Tommy Lloyd, right? Like, excuse me, getting emotional thinking about Tommy Lloyd not losing back-to-back to the same team usually. But I feel like after a loss, Tommy Lloyd is very good about adjustments, very good about knowing what the right buttons to push are to get the right result in the next game. You saw that against the Ukraine. And I think in this Saturday matchup, you're also going to see, and this is kind of something that I wanted to see as well, like just increase team cohesion game by game by game until we get to the Big 12 season, right? Like this is a group of guys that, and we saw that in the Lithuania B game, that have never played together. Outside of Karchenkov and Krivas, this group has never played together. And you could tell when they played against Lithuania B. It looked like Tommy Lloyd picked 12 dudes out of the portal and just said, all right, guys, hoop tomorrow, this time, Lithuania, be there. And they all showed up. Ukraine, it looked like a lot more of an Arizona basketball team put together by Tommy Lloyd that at least is kind of familiar with one another. And he said as much after the game, right? Like, and this is kind of to your point about the way that they played in the first game. Tommy Lloyd was saying it was kind of everybody for themselves. And he explicitly said, that's not how we play. And so I do think he was very upset with the way that they played against Lithuania B. Not the result. I'm sure he didn't like the fact that they lost, but it's like, it's a preseason game. They're still a very quality side. They're entrenched in their system. They've played together for years. Like, it was an uphill battle for sure. But I think Tommy Lloyd wanted to see them play differently against Lithuania B. And he saw that against Ukraine. So first and foremost, I would love to see the team continue to increase, not continue, but continue to increase their cohesion as a unit, looking like they're more comfortable with one another out there. That is first and foremost, Damon. But as we kind of get into like what individually I want to see from some guys in this preseason game, I mean, all right, we talked about him 3 straight basketball shows. People might think we hate this guy, but we don't hate this guy. But this is his opportunity, in my opinion. Last preseason international game, right? First couple games, it's been a whole lot of just nothing, right? Just opening the bag, no chips, dude. I got robbed. I opened a chip bag and there was nothing in there.
I already know who you're talking about.
Evan Otten, can you show me anything? I want to be shown something tomorrow by Evan Otten. Whether it's 1 block and 2 points, I just want to see some rim protection. I want to see the foul number maybe get no higher than 3 in 9 minutes. I feel like that's accomplishable. Yeah, Evan Otten, what do you got for us tomorrow against Lithuanian B? Plus, Damon, what's something that you want to see from individuals tomorrow? We can kind of just go back and forth a little bit until we run out of options.
Yeah, I think that I hamper back to maybe some of the more negatives that I've seen thus far. Obviously I want to see the things that we've seen already. Oogie, Cam Holmes, Karchenkov looking like a star scorer. I want to see those continue. So, nothing hot take on that end from me. But when it comes to maybe some of the things that I haven't seen yet or that I want to see moving forward, like how about Derek Dixon continuing his efficient scoring and his finishing at the rim in particular. Would love to see another game out of him where he's sitting in and around 50% from 3, I think. And when he gets opportunities at attacking the rim, I want to see those finishes through contact in particular. So I'll go with Derek Dixon continuing his efficient scoring start so far throughout the Lithuania tour.
That was on my list that I kind of jotted down before our show, just kind of thinking, brainstorming, like, what did I want to see? But yeah, Derek Dixon continuing to look more and more comfortable.
Chain snatch.
And continuing to impress is something that I really, really want to see. We have some options here in the chat as well. Robert Zolman saying, I just want to see Otten stay in front of his man and not let them blow past so often, but also so Otten as well. And then we also have Jay Meisner in the chat saying, I want to see better passing, especially when passing down low. And I do think like the entry passes could be a little bit cleaner, both on the pass and on the catch. Even Mo Krivas has been a little slow to catch some of these not inbound, but entry passes. is La Shadow in the chat also kind of saying, Otten, not that guy.
I think that this is something that I also highlighted, or not, I haven't said it on the show, but I noticed it while I was watching the games, and that Robert brings up here, where it's like when he's getting blown past like that, like I feel like we're being sold on the Evan Otten archetype is like he's athletic. He's a defender. And it's like I know he's coming from Idaho State, but like it's not encouraging to see a Lithuania B backup guard take him off the dribble and then draw a foul on him. You know what I mean? It's like that I feel like that's kind of what you're supposed to bring to the table, is that you can lock a dude up, especially a smaller guy like that, because you have a unique ability to maybe slide laterally with him. And then if he beats past you, then you should be able to pin him from behind because your entire thing is shot blocking.
Yeah.
So that it's a little bit concerning to see like a player that you wouldn't expect to necessarily be athletic on the Lithuania B bench, just like with ease work their way past Evan Otten, who, you know, being like a foot shorter than him. If you know what I mean? Like I want to see a little bit more lateral mobility out of him, because I feel like that's kind of what he's supposed to bring to the table, is like a little bit of ability to defend like maybe some 2 through 5 in short stints, right? Like if a switchable defensive big. And right now I'm not really seeing much of anything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing him get some great cardio in. I saw him fall to the floor once and get right back up, pull himself up by the bootstraps. You know what I mean? You wish you had flow coming out of a camo hat the way that Evan Otten does. You know what I mean?
We'd take this podcast up to a different level if I had his hair.
I had a question for you before we continue this, Damon. Who's the greatest athlete from Idaho State of all time?
Idaho State of all time.
Not Evan Otten, because he's the only one you know. Man, honestly, not a bad person to be your GOAT from your school, especially when you're Idaho State.
I don't think that is their GOAT.
No. I'm not saying Evan Otten's their GOAT. I was asking. I googled the greatest Idaho State athlete of all time.
You already looked it up.
Yeah, and I wanted to see who you thought would be at that mantle. And I was saying, you know what? It's not a bad guy to have as your. Oh, I guess it's a male. Spoiler, but it's not a bad guy to have as your GOAT.
Can I get like, just give me like one
football
hint, like in like era he played in, and maybe something like that.
Football, played in the pros during our lifetime. I don't know the exact years he was in the pros. He was quite good. He led the NFL in sacks twice. Was a 5-time Pro Bowler.
Okay.
And a 4-time first team All-Pro. He is a Pro Football Hall of Famer.
Huh.
Yes. Played defense. Well, obviously he led the NFL in sacks.
Yeah.
Duh.
Joey Porter.
No, but correct first initial.
Wow. I'm looking at it now. Okay. That is a pretty good player to have as your
answer. Jared Allen.
Yeah.
Not Josh Allen, but Jared Allen, the D lineman, right?
Merrill Hodge also played at Idaho State.
Gold medalist pole vaulter, Stacy Draglia. I mean, what can Evan Otten do to get into this pantheon of great Iowa State? What's their mascot, Damon? What's their mascot? Iowa State. What? Oh, the great Iowa State corn farmers.
Tigers?
Oh, they actually are the Tigers. You're so right. They might be the Bengals, though.
I think they are the Bengals.
Bang! Goal. Come on, man. Come on, man.
They are the Bengals. I mean, we're learning a lot about Idaho State today.
Way too much about Idaho State. That's why I'm going to talk about my next thing that I want to see in tomorrow's game, which is I want to see Ugnish Yarushevicius have his 3rd straight really good game. Mm-hmm. And obviously, it doesn't necessarily matter if he has like a lesser game or if he plays a little bit less minutes in this game or whatnot. But it would be really, really, I think, validating that he is going to be impactful this upcoming season. If 3 straight times out, he's consistent and he's efficient and he's impactful. I don't want to have like a situation where it's like, oh, well, we did see him put together one good performance, one great performance, and then one bad performance. I would love to see him put a good, great together, or good, great, good together. I think it's a great indication that he will be consistent this upcoming season. Damon, anything else that you want to see?
Yeah, I want to see Caleb Holt maybe find his jumper a little bit more. He's obviously been finding other ways to impact the game, and I think that's the sign of a true high-level basketball player, is that not only when he's not scoring, can he make an impact, similar to like a Braden Burries last year, who, even though he wasn't doing what his bread and butter and what his game is predicated upon, which is scoring at every level on the floor, Tommy Lloyd still was entrusting him with big time minutes in big time crunch time situations because he trusted Braden Burries to be in the right spot defensively, to, make those plays when needed, to crash the boards when necessary, and not allow his man to steal a offensive rebound that comes in a late game situation. So yeah, I feel like Caleb Holt has done the little things right. Now it's time to really go out there and show people why you're a projected top 5 pick. So it's been slow start through 2 games on the offensive side of things. Would love to see maybe a more complete, well-rounded game out of him.
Yeah, I want to see him find some offensive efficiency, I'll say, right? I would love to see him have a day where his, field goal percentage looks good, the rebounds look good, the steal looks good, the turnovers. I just want to see across the board, can you be efficient as well? Because as a Caleb Holt guy, like Caleb Holt FC till I die, I love the performances he has had so far in a lot of ways. People on Twitter, though, tell me, well, Kevin, he can't shoot it. He can't score it. He turns it over in only his second action as a freshman in FIBA rules with players he's never played with before. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's not there yet. And I just want to see a game where I can kind of come away from it being like, okay, do you see what I see now? Do you understand now that the shot fell what I see now? Because arbitrarily, whether the shot falls or doesn't, depends, I guess, whether the player is good or not in some people's minds. So, yeah, I think Caleb Holt having an efficient scoring day would be huge for the fan base as well. My final thing is, can we just stay healthy? We played 2 games. Brnovich picks up an unknown thing where he looked like he was bleeding from the chin, maybe some stitches, and then Karchenkov rolls an ankle. I know I saw someone, maybe Robert in the chat, asking for an update on his ankle. We don't really have an explicit update on the ankle. He walked off on his own power in the last game, ended up coming back. So I would assume that this is a, lightly rolled ankle that he either is going to sit for the rest of the preseason with or whatnot. It didn't seem like it was a huge issue. I'll say that much, but we'll see when more reports come out about Ivan Karchenkov's ankle. After our final break here on the AZ Wildcats podcast, I have a surprise for Damon, and I want to see if Shark Tank on the AZ Wildcats podcast is going to Lithuania. What do I mean by that? Well, stick around, leave a like, and you might find out. We'll be right back. I want to tell you about people who are silly on social media, but serious in the courtroom. The husband and wife law team. Mark, Alexis, the Bryers, they bring it every day. Whether it's in the office, you, me, and Noah were talking about the energy that they bring to their office. You think you work in a corporate environment until you work for the husband and wife law team because they have fun at work, my friend. But you're wondering, okay, Kevin, yeah, they're having a lot of fun. Yeah, they're funny, but do they get results in the courtroom? Yes, they do. How do they get the results? They employ the specialist to get the job done for you, and you have access to your attorney at all times, never having to play phone tag with your attorney from the husband and wife law team. And plus, if your case of serious injury or wrongful death dictates that you should go to trial, guess who's ready for that smoke? In fact, they're running up the chimney. It's the husband and wife law team whose practice is 100% dedicated to serious injury and wrongful death, meaning you're not going to get passed off to some NCAA NIL lawyer. You're going to have serious injury and wrongful death specialists at your side the whole way through. And now nobody can guarantee that you're going to go in there and catch a dub in the courtroom just like RJ Godfrey did a couple months ago. But what they can guarantee is they're going to treat you with the utmost level of transparency, right? They're going to tell you the strengths and the weaknesses of your case so you know exactly and intimately what you're getting yourself into. So if you've had a serious injury, do your research. Call the husband and wife law team first at 602-783-8841. That's 602-783-8841. Or visit that website in our show notes below and let them know that we sent you over here at PHNX.
The chase returns to Phoenix Raceway October 16th through 18th. It's race weekend, the weekend of the red and blue game, as you noted, Kevin. It's just it's a sports bonanza that weekend. And of course, you can watch NASCAR's championship contenders battle at the Freeway Insurance 500 in one of the most critical races on the road to the championship at this iconic track. Obviously, nothing matches the energy and the intensity of a race weekend, whether it's the engines roaring, the smell of the burning tires, or the crowd erupting as the field charges into turn one. It's just an energy that you have to experience in person. We have gone out there before as a company, done some content out there, And my God, was it such a fun time. Our former social media manager, Michaela, was literally just walking around in the like Winnebago RV section, trying to find someone that would shotgun a beer with her. And it took us, Kevin, legitimately about 2 minutes to stumble upon just 4 guys sitting in some lawn chairs, hanging out, listening to some country music, and just, how about we all just shotgun a beer right now, nice, real quick, and everybody had a great time. It's fantastic. The vibes are great. It's a community out there, and it's so much fun. You're going to have to experience all of it for yourself and secure your seats at phoenixraceway.com. That's phoenixraceway.com. Every lap counts. Every point matters. The Chase at Phoenix Raceway, October 16th through 18th. Electric.
Yesterday, absolutely electric, Damon. Yesterday, you and I brought up, Ugnis, pink soup, Yerusha Vicious. And it's because his game is so refreshing, so cold. It's like a nice, fresh pink soup, my brother. Now, here's the thing, though. Recently, here in the Freedom State of Arizona, we lost a good soldier, right? I mean, a lot of people here in the state of Arizona loved Salad and Go.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a free ad because RIP. They loved Salad and Go.
Past tense.
Yes. Salad and Go is no longer with us, at least as I understand it. So what can we do to bring happiness, refreshment, health, food back to the valley? Damon, and I'm sorry that it's kind of slop, but I bring you Pink Soup and Go, a.k.a. Saltibarsky and Go. And as you see, we have 2 young Arizona Wildcats in their, some sort of Hyundai Tucson there. Very on the nose from the AI.
Of course, supporting local.
Yes. Cats for life on the license plate in the drive-through. And I like how they have Lithuanian language on all the on the signage, right? Like the order here is
Saltibarsky and Go just really rolls off the tongue. It's like it's a marketing opportunity you almost can't miss.
You almost can't miss it. This maybe you wish you missed this part of the show, but Saltibarsky and Go is, that pink soup looks incredible. Does it not? I'm going through the drive-thru. Damon, are we keeping Salad and Go Lithuanian style, or should I get back to the drawing board?
I'm trying to figure out how to say that.
He's trying to get the Google Translate to read it out loud. Let's get that going. I need to know how to say that. So yeah, once you figure that out, let me know. What? One more time? So it sounds like, hold on, wait.
Saltibarsky.
Yeah. It's not. I need to read it while I hear it. Say it one more time. Saltibarsky. I killed that.
Saltibarsky and Go.
Saltibarsky and Go. Oh, come on.
Now it does roll off the tongue. Now we're cooking here. You can see the light bulbs start formulating in our heads in real time.
We literally need like Oogie on call to like be like a translator for us. The same way that they were translating for like Caleb Holt over there in Lithuania. I think we need him to verify that we are pronouncing. Let me read it again. Saltibarsky. Saltibarsky. And why am I rolling an R? They don't roll R's over there, do they?
He kind of did. Right?
Did they? No.
Saltibarsky.
Chat? I don't know.
Kevin, here's where we go from here. As I'm saying, the light bulbs are starting to form in the old head here.
We take this business to Lithuania?
Patent pending.
Oh.
Okay. We're gonna, as soon as the show's over, we're gonna get a copyright on this going so that no one can steal this idea, $1 million idea that we have.
Yeah.
Investment opportunities start right after that. Investors, possibly you.
Possibly our friend of the program.
Ugnis Yerushevichis.
Obviously, I think Krivas and Ugi are
Yeah.
absolute locks to be investors in this. They're, to be honest with you, Kevin, they're kind of where our money's coming from.
Yeah.
They're the true money makers.
They're the ghost funders.
But I do think that instead of super chats, if people want to maybe hit us up in our DMs and find out how they can donate to our investment fund that is going to fund the Saltibarsky and Go pink soup business.
Okay, I like that. That felt good. That felt like
I think I'm feeling. Kevin, it's starting to really snowball
becoming like
here.
saying like salt and bars in the sky. You know,
just say it really fast.
Salt and butters in the sky.
But seriously,
yeah.
Joke's over.
Invest.
Like, invest.
Send us your money.
Send us your money. Invest in the company.
You'll see it one day.
Kevin, instead of doing a lemonade stand, should we do a pink soup stand?
Dude, okay. I say this genuinely. I think we would need like a Lithuanian on staff because we want to do it culturally accurately.
Pink soup would be terrible.
No, speak for yourself, dude. I can follow instructions.
Bro, I don't know that those like... I feel like some of those ingredients are like going to be things that like we just like don't even really got in Arizona.
Isn't it like it's like a beet cucumber soup, dude?
I bet you their beets are different than our beets. Their
cucumbers
they're probably
are different
better than our.
They're probably healthier. All our beets are getting recalled right now. All right. Anyway, Damon, let's get out of here. Let's get to maybe scheming up our salad. I mean, our
saltabariskai and go.
Saltabariskai. It's like Barcelona.
It is like that. It's a lot like that.
Man, that's tough to pronounce. We need Oogie to help us with that.
Lithuania is the Barcelona of Eastern Europe, people are saying.
And on that note, it's been the AZ Wildcats podcast. It's been a wonderful week of shows. Follow us on Twitter for all your coverage of tomorrow's game. Damon, what else do you usually say during the outro?
No, just follow us on all social media. Appreciate everybody for watching this week's worth of shows. And of course, throw me a follow at Damon Dog. Throw him a follow at Kevo Post. Throw us a follow at PHNX_Wildcats on all social except for TikTok, where we are at AZ Wildcats Pod. And we'll be back on a Monday at 2 p.m. with all of the top takeaways from Arizona's action on Saturday against Lithuania B+. I think we're
sticking with that. That kind of riffs.
It does. And of course, top takeaways on the PHNX Wildcats account, on Kevin and Damon's account all weekend long. I appreciate everybody for watching. We'll see you on Monday. Until then, peace out. Bear down.
And go Cats. Please support our humble Saltabariskai business.
We all silly like the mayor.